Hi guys, don't click off, you're on the right video. Let me move to the side. Today I'm going to be showing you guys this hairstyle in particular. I've been doing it back to back all summer and I will be bringing it back sometime in the winter. I just wanted to get a little bit out in silk press season, but this hairstyle in particular I've gotten a couple of comments on, so I wanted to show you guys how I get it done. If you don't braid your own hair, then this video would be a good video so that you know what to ask for. But if you do braid your own hair, then this would kind of like show you how I got it done in case you wanted to have an inspo. Not much more that I wanted to say in the intro. If you liked the video, if it was helpful, please do like, comment, or subscribe. I just want to make sure that the algorithm pushes it to the right people. So as long as it helps you out. I'm editing and I forgot to do an intro, hence why we are here. So without further ado, I'll let you guys see the tutorial. Okay, so I'd like to give a quick shout out to Z-Like for sponsoring this video. I'm going to be using their bundles to achieve the look that I wanted for these braids. So the curl pattern that I chose looks like this. All the details are obviously in the description box for you, but I wanted something that wasn't too tight, but also not too loose. And I really like this curl pattern because not all the curls are the same, so it gives a more natural look. Whereas when all the curls are uniform, sometimes it can look a little bit more fake. These are the braids I use. I literally just use like 2 packs of pre-stretched hair, and you'll see why later. First step is obviously to wash the bundles, and while they're drying, I was prepping the hair and kind of making sure that all of my braids were in order, pre-pulling the hair. So this is what the bundles look like after I washed them. And this is how much I cut for my braiding hair. I cut them in half and then I cut them again in half. So that's 4 pieces, hence why I didn't have to use too much. And then I stretched them. So if you don't know, they're usually pre-stretched, but when you blunt cut them, you have to do it yourself, just so that you don't have awkward ending braids. So it ends up looking like this. I had to cut them 4 times because that's the length of my natural hair, but if you have longer hair, you might not have to cut them 4 times. You might only do 2 times. And on the screen here is everything that I used for the braids. I'm trying not to move too fast, but I do know that usually for tutorials, you like to know the deets as quickly as possible, so I don't want to waste your time. First step was cutting the tracks off of the bundles so that I could use the hair in a feed-in type of way. So I cut all the tracks off, and usually bundles are way thicker at the top, so I had to comb it out just to take off the excess hair that's usually just short. When you don't do this, it ends up slipping out when you're trying to braid because you're actually braiding in these short hairs. Afterwards, I start the braiding process. So I skimmed ahead to just show you how I do one braid. I wouldn't consider this to be a how to braid tutorial, but it's just how to do these type of braids. So what I wanted to explain mostly was how much hair I was feeding in and how big the parts were and what hair I used, because I feel like most people go to hair salons or they know how to braid if they're braiding themselves anyway. If you don't know how to braid, I'm going to put a video in the description box for you on a braiding tutorial that I think could be helpful. But so far, this is how I do it. So I do knotless. Some people do knots. I do a mix of both, honestly. When it comes to the hair in the front, I usually just do a knot because I don't want it to slip out. And after the first 3 or 4 braid downs, that's when I feed in the first curly hair. And so I feed it in, I braid it down a little bit, and then I pull it out. When you go to your hairstylist, show them how full you want the curls to be. I really want it to be like 90% human hair, 10% braids. And what gives the mermaid braid or Zoe Kravitz braid effect is ending the braiding process after your real hair has been fully braided down. And the last part would just be human hair that is left unfinished. So I'm braiding it down. I added the second feed in, and the reason why I don't dry the bundles is because you see how they clump up. You see how the curls bunch together, and it's easier for you to find a way to feed them in. So per braid, I feed in maybe 3 to 4 human hair pieces, and I end it with a human hair piece. So this is me tying the knot at the end. For this braid specifically, I did 2. because I don't want it to be too full on this row, and then I seal it off with nail glue. So this is what it looks like once it's done. Two things: one, parting size matters; two, braid size matters. So as you can see, I did like really small, medium, I would honestly say small braids. Parting as well was pretty small, just so that you could have a full human like mermaid like look, where it's almost as if your hair just grows that way. Here's what it looks like wet, and then the dry side is on the other side, but I like to style it, so I added mousse, and this is really what it looked like after I layered and really styled the braids. Today's the day that I'm taking the braids down because I'm changing hairstyle. I figured it would be the best time for me to kind of talk about the hairstyle because it's now been worn, and I can like talk about the longevity and stuff like that. I did my braids on this date and I'm taking it off on this date. And here's what they look like. Obviously, your hair type, how tight you braid, if you're swimming, if you're not swimming, it really does affect how long these last. Because when I did them for my trip to Tulum, I took them out maybe 2 weeks after I came back. So I didn't keep them for as long as I'm keeping them now. Wetting my hair and like always going to the pool, what ended up happening was some of the glued ends would be less strong, so the hair was falling out a lot more. And when I mean falling out, I mean like strands were falling out, whereas with here I had minimal shedding and not much was falling out. This is my new growth. This hairstyle is in my top 10s, it's in my top 3s, because it could never look messy, quote unquote, since you have such a like. If you have any additional questions, you could always comment them down below, I'll let you know. And if I was to give you any advice when it comes to this hair, is to really try and stick with human hair. I promise you, it's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it. For the overall, just so that you could have an enjoyable experience with the style, because I could not imagine not being able to just wet it and everything going back to perfection and stuff like that. Overall, I give this hairstyle a 10 out of 10. Is it protective? I would say so. I promise you it is if you do it right. It's so light. It's so light. I oiled my scalp once a week, and so far I haven't been having like extreme itchiness and like irritation when it comes to the scalp. And when it comes to the braid, I mean, come on now, you're braiding your hair with the least amount of extensions, the least amount of weight. So I would say this is a 10 on 10 when it comes to protective hairstyles, and it just looks so darn cool. I really love the way it looks, and I've been doing this. This is my third time doing it now, and I will see myself doing it again probably before the year ends, or maybe next summer again, because I know winter vibes, I'm more on like bone straight braids during the winter, so maybe I'll do it again next summer. Thank you Z-Like Hair for providing me with the bundles for this hairstyle. When it comes to the bundles that I got from them, everything is linked in the bio, or what's it called, the description box down below. So those are the specs. I feel like I covered everything, but questions are always welcome. And that's how you do that hairstyle. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.